man.
Right.
Those are cool. It climbs trees. It comes right back.
Well, you're in unincorporated North Shelby County, so like you can have anything. We talked about this. You can have a camel.
Yeah, we talked about camels.
Yes, I think camel's the way to go.
Just remember, someone's got to feed all these things, and remember this too: the bigger the animal, the bigger the shit.
Yes, I know that.
Yes. If small animals are great because you can pick it up with your finger. Hell, you may even think it's like a raisin or something and pop it in your mouth. But I mean, big animals, big poop. I'm just telling you, big animals, big poop. And the more you feed them, the more they'll poop and pee.
You know, we used to have a Mastiff.
I know.
230 pounds. And he would get anxious when we'd go out of town.
Yeah.
You know what happens with dogs when they get anxious?
Yeah.
They have diarrhea. Do you know what it's like to have a 230-pound dog have explosive diarrhea up the stairs?
No, I do not.
I do.
I know what it's like to have poop all over the house, but not diarrhea.
I'm total empty nester now. We got nothing. We have no pets.
You need to get your tank going again.
Shoot, Jules won't let me. We're like done.
Yeah, I think about 3 or 4 times a day you tell me that Jules won't let you do something.
Because that's why we have a successful marriage. Yes.
Yeah, but do you sense the resentment here?
No, I don't resentment. It's just good.
You got a wife now that's got blue garage doors, white carpet, and no pets. What is that? What kind of household is that for a man?
I'm telling you.
Do you have your own little room? You used to have your own little room. And now
I have my own little room.
You don't have that anymore?
No, I have my room.
Then you put a fish tank in there.
No, I could put a fish tank in there.
Well, how big is that room? It's like a holding cell, right? It's like a 3 by 5?
It's like 3 by 5. I like it. You know, it feels safe.
I know, right?
Because it's the only place. It's tiny.
Yeah.
And it's the only place where if I have like coffee schmutzig anywhere, then Jules, it's fine. Like I can have whatever. In fact, she'll say, you can do whatever you want in that office. Oh, I could get pets and I could get a dog and put it in that office.
You don't need a dog. Just get some fish.
Okay, I'll do.
You're the one to turn me on to fish.
I know.
I love them.
I know.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah. It was great.
It was
my God.
Nice.
Spring. Yeah, I went to the botanical gardens, by the way.
Because your wife made you go?
No, I wanted to go. It was a nice day.
You actually wanted to go? It was not her idea?
No, it was her idea, but it was one of those ones where it's her idea, and I thought it was. Yeah. Okay. Do you know what I found out?
What's that?
Do you know what happens on the first nice day of spring first nice day of spring here that falls on a Sunday after church when it's not Easter?
Everyone goes to the botanical gardens.
Oh my God, they were parked down the street, and it ruined my entire experience for me.
Really?
I don't want to walk around. I had to peer over people's shoulders to look at the damn koi fish.
Why?
Because there's that many people on the bridge.
Well, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. You're good.
Yeah, I know.
That
was interesting. Now let me tell you. I will tell you this. Most people. Almost everybody had a mask on.
I went up to the gas station this morning.
What'd you see?
I put my mask on.
Yeah.
And I walked in.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't need that anymore.
I know.
And I said, what's that? She goes, your mask. She goes, I mean, if you want to wear it. She don't have to. And she wasn't wearing one. I was like, all right. She goes, mandate's off. And I was like, we hate being told what to do.
I know.
But then when we're told that we don't have to do something, we're all in.
I know. I went to the grocery store yesterday. It's my favorite thing to do is stare people down.
You can't do it anymore.
No, I can't.
You don't have to.
No,
you can do whatever you want, but
I can stare them down.
But now they have the right to say, "Well, there's no mask."
But I can still stare them down because you are not caring for the rest of the people who are there. Everyone in there who works there has a mask. Why does everyone who works there have a mask on?
Because they're there all day long.
And so what?
We're just kind of in and out.
So, but are they're there to protect themselves, or
if you're in a hospital, you're going to wear a mask all day because you're around
sick people
all day. Yeah.
Right. So now sick people are coming in. Sick people are coming in. But
when we're shopping, we control where we're going, and when you're working there, you don't control who you're around.
But that's what I'm saying. So if everybody wore a mask, then the nice people there who work there wouldn't have to worry about infection.
Yeah, but I'm good.
Yeah, because it's over.
I'm getting vaccinated tomorrow. I'm good.
It's over.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you one other thing. This is not a rant. This is my psychological. This is not a rant. This is my psychological assessment of like where we are. It's more sociological. Mm-hmm. So we're at the botanical gardens with 5,000 people, and I'm walking down a path, and I hear, "Hey, Dr. Josh. And the whole thing with the mask, if you don't instantly recognize the person, you can't see them, right? Mm-hmm. And this is somebody who I literally haven't seen in about 15 years. So I did the, hey, okay, and then I knew who it was. Yeah. And he and his significant other, I don't know if his wife, whatever, were standing on one side of the path, and Jules and I were standing on the other side of the path. And oh my God, this is so fast. There's this awkward moment because we all had masks on.
Yeah.
Now what do? Do you keep your mask on? So Jules, and because we were outside, we took our masks off.
Mm-hmm.
They had theirs on. You're kind of watching their eyes. And the first thing Jules said is, we're vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
We're vaccinated. They ripped theirs off. We are too.
There you go.
And then but then we didn't embrace. We kept distance. This is to me what's so interesting about this is I have a question. Do you think handshaking will go away?
No.
You think it's going
to?
When do you think it will come back?
I think it's already coming back. I already handshake yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, in church. Mm-hmm. It's already back.
It's just going to come back?
Yeah, I mean, you see the hand. It's like some people fist bump before the handshake thing went away, but handshake is not going to.
But there's hesitation now.
It's too cultural.
But there's hesitation. See, that's
a
what I
little
think is interesting.
but it happens. Yeah.
Do you put your hand? You just put your hand out like this?
No, I mean, I'm still fist bumping. I'll fist bump, but if they go like that, then I'll shake their hand.
But do you say vaccinated?
I do as a joke, just to let. But I do it to let people know that I'm okay.
Yes,
and they're comfortable with that.
That's interesting.
But the whole restaurant thing. You know, we went to where'd we go yesterday? We went to a restaurant. It's funny because you're wearing the mask from the car to the restaurant, and there's no one around, so there's no reason to wear a mask. And the minute you walk in the busy place, you take your mask off. And I'm going, this is stupid. I mean, it really is. It's ridiculous. I understand we got to do it, but it's stupid.
Which part is stupid?
It's stupid.
You should be wearing.
Well, I'm eating, so I don't have to wear a mask for the next 3 hours. I mean, I know some people that were at the brunch of the country club for 3 hours yesterday just so they didn't have to put a mask on.
Yeah.
As long as they're shoveling something in their face.
Let's see what happens.
Well, I'm going to be eating again in about 10 minutes, so I think I should be good between now and then.
Let's
I'm like,
okay. We'll see what happens.
We know what's going to happen. It's going to get better as long as we continue to get vaccinated. Keep getting vaccinated. Well, there was a guy in an airplane flight that ate for 5 consecutive hours. He had 2 tins of Pringles, and he'd eat a Pringles every 10 seconds to ensure that he didn't have to put his mask on. Yeah. So he had a whole 2 tins of Pringles, and it took him 5 hours from here to Las Vegas.
Do you see what we're doing? We're crazy. People are freaking crazy.
But he had a bellyache.
People are crazy. We're okay.
All right, so we got some more COVID fallout. This is perfect for what we're going to...
Sex?
Yes.
Okay.
Sex is one of them. Brand new survey I saw yesterday. I was watching the news. I think it was one poll, one of these things, about sex, and 72% of people... who believe that sex is very, very important to not only their relationship but also to them, are having COVID sex anxiety. In other words, they said that the fact that they were around their mate more would have thought that sex would have been flourishing and better, but it wasn't. There was a decrease in sex, and at the same time, when they did have sex, it wasn't very good because they, quote unquote, couldn't get out of their own head.
Yes.
And so it's not only... We'll just get back on the bicycle ride. It's that I don't know where the bicycle is.
That's right.
And it's one of those things where I haven't ridden my bicycle in 3 months, and I pull it off the rafters in the garage, and oh my gosh, I need air in my tires. Yeah. It's not the same sex as it used to be. And so at least 63% of people saying their sex life has basically been obsolete, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good before COVID. And now there's this anxiety about getting back into it, even with people that they truly trust, they've shared their fears and their joys with, and so it's an uncomfortable time. It's almost like dating again, and so they don't know what to do. So we'll talk about that. Plus,
some ideas.
We got the first ever Kurre and Klapow fashion news I want to get into. Fashion's back. Yeah, you know what? We are fashionable.
We are. Are we?
Yeah.
Why?
Levi Strauss came out yesterday.
Okay.
Skinny jeans are out. They lasted about 9 years. They said they're finished. The majority of pants or jeans people are buying are the full-bodied, more fluffy, elastic band type. Yes. And for skinny people, too. Like the skinny jeans are out, and there's a shirt that's coming back.
Dad bod shirt?
Nope.
Oh. The puffy shirt?
No, not the puffy shirt.
What?
We'll talk about the Hawaiian shirt's back.
Really?
Justin Bieber this weekend in a Hawaiian shirt. Kim Kardashian was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Ben Affleck was in a Hawaiian shirt. Nas was wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
You know, I have 2 of them. I know you got one. I have 2 of them.
Well, I used to do parrot head parties.
Well,
and I had to have like 30 of them. And so there was a time where all I wore was Hawaiian shirts.
I've seen pictures of it.
When I was working, everywhere I went. And it's because it was always in style. Yeah. Hawaiian shirts are always in style.
Not really.
Yeah, well, now they are. Because everyone wants to come back out, and I think it's because they're incredibly comfortable.
Yes, that's true.
They're always in fashion. They're very colorful, and people like color. But the Hawaiian shirt pretty much has been out for like the last 10 years. Like it had to be a nice Hawaiian shirt to look pretty good, but now everyone's wearing Hawaiian shirts.
I will see if my college kids wear Hawaiian shirts.
Hawaiian shirts and baggy jeans, dude. I'm in.
Baggy jeans?
Yeah. The easy fit jeans are back.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm so glad because the skinny jeans, everyone looked gay to me. If you're a dude and you're wearing skinny jeans, you look. I'm sorry, you look. There you have it. Well,
Yeah,
see, I wear 15s,
See, but yours not,
and so I have to wear.
But see, okay, Brandon, are those stretchy?
Those aren't really.
Okay,
yeah, those aren't skinny.
See, no, but he doesn't know about this. Can I tell you about this? I'm going to date. Do you see your pants? Pull on your pants. Pull on. Just pull. No, pull on.
Yeah.
Nothing. Watch mine. See that?
Yeah.
These are like they've got spandex in them.
There you go. Those are good.
No, but
they can't be skinny.
No, they're not. But they are skinny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they have spandex in them.
It's probably because we're all. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
See, it's probably because the majority of us.
Yeah, but you see. Here's the other thing. If you're going to wear shorts,
so you can't wear shorts that match your shirt.
Well, yeah, you can't.
You can't do that. You cannot. No, that ain't that.
They do.
I know.
But here's the thing. Because we're going to be moving. Are you going to wear a sweater all summer long?
I'm going to wear a sweater till I'm probably dead. Yeah.
Okay, now you're going to wear a sweater with shorts?
It's cold down here.
It's not cold down here. So I'm going to ask you something.
I wore a sweater with shorts yesterday with black socks.
It was 80 degrees. You're like an old freaking man.
I got up from a nap and I was
You got up
tired.
from his nap.
Did
you wipe the drool off your thing?
Yes. When I got up from my nap, I was watching the Masters Perfect Nap television. And I get up and I'm a little chilly because I have my blankie on me. And when I get up, I'm a little chilly. So I put her. And then when I get in the car, then I start getting hot. Then I take my clothes off.
Okay, so now here's the other thing you're going to have to do. You got shorts. I've seen you wear shorts. You wear them in my house.
I wear shorts.
Okay.
Yeah. Wear shorts.
How long are your shorts?
My shorts are about 10 years old. So
right. So they're about here?
Like most men, I keep my clothes until they come back into style. And I'm right again because now my Hawaiian shirts are in, my baggy pants are in, and my shorts, which come down. And I've got a long inseam. Thank you very much. For you ladies out there that like disc jockeys and big noses, I have a very long inseam, if you know what I mean.
You know what?
So some shorts, they're not NBA 70 shorts, but sometimes they get out there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get rid of that too. I had to go through the whole thing. My kids are like, I had 9-inch inseams.
Yeah.
Right, which would go about right there, and my daughter's like, you can't do that.
Let me tell you something.
I went to 7. I can't do 5.
When you get to be my age, and I'm not old, 55.
Your kids are too young.
I am done trying to impress people.
It's not trying to impress people.
No, I am going to be comfortable. If I'm going to Publix, I'm not getting dressed up.
I know.
I'm going to be comfortable. If I've got paint on my shorts or I just got done cutting the grass, I got sawdust in my hair, that's fine. If I go to Kohl's, if I go out to dinner, and I'm with my kids, I'm not there to impress anybody but me and my kids. And if they're comfortable with what I'm wearing, I'm comfortable. And if I'm comfortable, I've never been a tight clothing kind of person. I've always been in pretty good shape.
Yeah,
I wear this,
good, yes.
On my driver's license, it says 210 pounds. I'm still 210 pounds. I was when I was 16, okay? But I'm not going to be uncomfortable. I'm not going to be uncomfortable to look stylish. Sorry, I don't care.
You're a little defensive.
Now, if I'm at a wedding,
yes,
or I'm somewhere where I got to dress up or something, I'm going to wear a suit. I'm going to look good.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm just going out to a movie or I'm going out to dinner or I'm going to a party or going to a friend's house, I ain't going to get dressed up. I ain't getting dressed up for you. I'm going to be comfortable. I want to have a good time. I'm going to be comfortable. This is it. Now, if the sweater ever comes back in.
Yes. Oh. Yeah, what if Jill Biden's there and she's wearing fishnets?
If I'm going to court somebody.
You're going to court?
And I tried to hunt her down the last couple of days because she was here. Yes, if I'm going to court Jill Biden, if I'm looking, for a little cootie.
Because she's looking at you because her husband looks a hell of a lot better than you do.
Her husband wears the same clothing I do. I got news for you. Joe's wearing a sweater right now and it's 93 degrees.
Because he gets chilly.
He lives, they call it the iguana chamber. You know, when you wake up at your grandpa's house and it's so stinking hot, it's like, it's 93 degrees outside. Is the window open? Okay. No, I got the heat on. It's 93.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
Where did that ever come from and when does it develop? Because every kid knows you go to their grandparents' house, it's hotter than crap.
Yeah.
And it just feels hot and it's horrible.
And I hate being hot when I don't need to be hot.
So here's the thing. As you know, I'm getting up there and my kids are coming back to visit from college.
Yeah.
I pride myself on when they come home, whatever temperature you like, go for it. Turn the air conditioning on. Yeah. And then what they've said is, your house, the house is not hot. And I said, it never will be. It doesn't matter how cold, because I don't want to be that grandparent. I'm not a grandparent.
My house is always cold, but I wear sweaters in my house. I do. I'll make sure that the air is on 67 or 68 so I can.
So in the winter, do you?
It's like a thunder jacket.
Do you keep it cold in the winter and tell everybody to put a blanket on?
Sure, I do.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even turn the heat on in the wintertime. No, we'll get down to like in the 50s.
Do you have a Hawaiian print shirt on?
No, but if you know what?
Oh, you have Hawaiian print pajamas.
A Hawaiian sweater. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. And we got Christmas sweaters, a Hawaiian sweater.
I don't think they make Hawaiian sweaters. Do they make Hawaiian sweaters?
We need to have a Hawaiian
Brandon's
sweater.
looking.
That'd be awesome.
You could do it.
Hawaiian sweaters. Look up Hawaiian sweaters up there. I think that'd be great. I'd wear one of those. All right, so I want to get into this. The sex thing is really interesting to me.
Anticipatory anxiety around COVID sex. I love it.
It really is, because we kept talking about, we talked about the whoring 20s last week. The people in New York, all these singles and dating clubs are like, people that I wouldn't have ever slept with. Now I'm even thinking about, let's go, let's get it on, because they're ready to open the doors. They say it's going to be like the roaring 20s, but the whoring 20s, and they're going to get after it again. And once they find out they're vaccinated, it's going to be a free for all. It's going to be Woodstock all over again. And I could see that. I mean, obviously, when you keep a fat man away from a buffet table for 3 days, and then you allow him to have free will, he's going to get after it. He's going to overeat, right?
And you know what's going to happen, right? And then he's going to get like diarrhea.
Well, he's going to have herpes.
He's going to get diarrhea, but that's what we're going to.
He probably will, and we learn our lesson.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't learn your lesson from herpes.
Yes, you do.
I mean, you do learn your lesson, but you
learn your lesson for the rest of your life.
I was just going to say, it's not the same as diarrhea. Go.
So when the survey of people said that it was like 62 or 63% of people said that their sex life is not as good as it was pre-COVID. And I understand that, because there's a lot of things going on, and people are losing jobs, and people who initiates that again. Like, are you back in the mood again, or are we kind of over this? Are we getting through this, or this is the psychological aspect, will it just happen? Because for men,
right,
it's going to happen. I mean, we're going
drop
through
a spoon,
we're going through a little ebb and flow here. It's going to come back. It's going to be fine. I'm sure it'll go right back to the way it was. Or has it changed forever? And I think at least 72% of the people who are anxiety ridden believe that it has changed for good. Like, it's going to be like it's been a year, right?
Yeah,
it's been a year of our changing sex life, and I still love you, and it's all good. But okay, what's happening now? Are we going back to the way it used to be, or is this the new
because
us?
we realized that we could spend a year without sex, or very little sex.
Yeah,
it's not. I wouldn't call it anxiety. It's awkwardness.
Yeah,
there's a difference. Anxiety is like, I'm nervous. I'm scared. This is awkwardness, and it makes sense. I mean, think about it. Your world is kind of turned upside down.
I'm looking at the hibiscus Hawaiian flower pullover. Those are sweet. One of those.
Can we get Hawaiian print hoodies?
Dude, that is right.
Yes.
I would look good in that right there. The hibiscus Hawaiian flower pullover.
We will get that. We will get that. So if you think about it, it's not just, I mean, we've talked about this before. Definitely, as you've been in a relationship, there's dry spells, right? And then you have the whole issue around communication. It's always, it always comes down to the same thing. Your sex life isn't what you want it to be. You don't want to say anything. They don't want to say anything. Nobody wants to say anything. You drop little hints, hey, maybe we could have and then one partner's not in the mood. And so then the other partner feels rejection, and then you go back and you're not saying anything. I mean, that's a classic. Okay. And every psychologist tell you need to communicate.
Yeah.
And communicate. I feel like we always say you need to communicate, but what we're really trying to say is you have to talk. Because we always say communicate, and then it's like, well, I dropped a hint. No. You have to say, let's talk about our sex life.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk, exactly. What I think is different here. So you already had that going on, right? And unless you're like 20 or 23 and you just got married, and like you said, you don't like rabbits, every couple's got this. Now you throw in all this weirdness. Maybe you've got young kids, and they weren't even at school, they were home. Or even if you don't have kids, you're both there, right? You're both there doing your work virtually. Now some people are starting to go back. Now you're there, and she's going away. So everything there is no rhythm to anything. Mm-hmm. And then on top of it now, as things are kind of opening up, we've disrupted the rhythm again. And so like you were saying, it seems simple enough. You should be able to just let's have a Friday night.
Yeah.
But it's different. The world has changed. And depending on who you are, You may have had friends who were sick or died. You may have lost your job. Someone you know has there's a heaviness that's going on. Yeah, 20-year-olds are knocking it out but for the rest of us who are 30 plus, I hate to say this, as important as sex, there's sort of bigger things floating around our mind.
It's funny to think that the people that aren't in relationships that not say are promiscuous, they seem like they're going to get back into it pretty relatively quick. Not because they don't have less to worry about, but because they don't have that relationship part of that thing they have to deal with. And then you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, if you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship before, it should be easy because you've already got your partner, you're vaccinated, you've been with them, you're there.
Take your clothes off, go.
Exactly. Here's the part where guys get hung up on. And I'm not saying that there aren't cases where women want it more than men, but it always seems like stereotypically men want it more than women. We don't know. You talked about the rejection part.
Let me just say this, because it's one partner. Because it's not just heterosexual relationships. There's typically one partner. It's rare that you see a perfect match.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But we don't know how long to push before it becomes a problem. Because we've all been through, hey, I'm tired, it's been a long day.
Right.
One day, okay, it happens. But then when it happens over the course of a couple of weeks, and say you went into COVID and you were having sex 2 or 3 days a week, and all of a sudden it's just kind of falling off. You understand. You're like, hey, listen, she's been through a lot, or maybe she lost her job, or maybe she's doing virtual learning and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you're totally cool. But then at what point do you start talking or communicating? Because when someone doesn't want something as bad as you want it, then you look like a turkey head by going, it's been a kind of while, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable to bring it up. And you're like, it's been a month. I mean, I just curious, because that is the most incredible.
I'm just
You're
curious.
leaving rose petals. You're taking them out. You bring her flowers for no reason, and she sees through that.
Then you put them. This is what happens on the other side.
It's the chase.
But then this is what happens on the other side. Then they feel obligated to do. They don't want to say no, even though that's what they want to say. I'm in a different place right now. I'm just not in a good place, right? So, but they don't want to do that. So they kind of go halfway. Oh, that was wonderful that you did that. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, I got the green light. You go. There's a little bit of hesitation. Maybe they acquiesce and it happens. Then you're happy. They're not, because they feel like even if you've done it appropriately, you've pushed. Mm-hmm. You push to the point where they're obligated. Then you think, this is great. Everything's back together. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no. And guys do this. It's the push and the pout. Push and the pout.
Sure.
You push, hey, hi, hey, right? And then they're doing that. And like you said, okay, I understand. It's been 1 week. And we're great there. Here's where we get ourselves in trouble. When they say that they're not in the mood, or they got a headache, or now's not the right time, then we start pouting.
Yeah.
And we do okay, that's fine. Are you upset? No, I'm good. Okay.
Well, because we know that if we don't pout, it's going to be fake BS.
No, you're not supposed to pout.
No, because if you're used to having sex on a regular basis and all of a sudden you haven't had for 3 weeks, you're like, that's cool. Okay, that's cool because...
No, it's I'm disappointed, but I understand. Yeah. I understand. I get it.
Well,
or actually, I take it back. I tell you shouldn't do that. I got to be a good psychologist. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on. Is it me? No, it's not you. Okay, well, where's your head at?
And I guess, and my point is at what point do you start asking those questions? Because that's the point of no return.
Which?
It's a problem then. Is when, okay, what's going on? What's happening? Why can't we be together? Why aren't you in a mood anymore?
Yeah, but then you got to be super careful.
Sure.
Because it's not just your words, it's your body language.
Yeah.
Because if and what's going to happen is they're going to say, "Do you really want me to tell you?"
Sure.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Look, we've been together with this COVID thing, and I don't find myself attractive as much. I've got my mind on other things, and to be honest with you, I'm not in the mood. You've been here every damn day.
Well, just remember, when you're not in the mood, maybe I'm not going to be in the mood.
Okay, so you see what you're doing. And that's where the problem happens. No. And now we start using
role play.
Now we start.
Okay, fine. Well, when you want this, I may be busy.
Yeah, you know what she's going to say? Okay, fine, great.
Okay, fine.
Great. And you're like, well, no, that's not what I really meant.
You really have to look at what your sex life was going into COVID and have realistic expectations on what you think it's going to be coming out. It may be better.
Maybe.
It may be worse. And what happened during COVID that could create a rift? Because a lot of women may not want to be with you now that they're around you all the time.
Do you know what COVID? So
it was great when I didn't see you all day for 7 days a week, and now I get to see you every single day. You're just not as attractive to me anymore.
You know my phrase about this: COVID shined the light, super bright floodlight on relationships of every kind, every crack in it. So you've had an opportunity during COVID to communicate more. You've had an opportunity during COVID to deal with conflict. You've had all these opportunities during COVID. I would say half the population did not seize that opportunity. Yep. What they did is they just tried to get through the way that they were. And so now we're coming out the other side, and it's exactly what you said is, look, I've been with you. I was with you the entire time. You let yourself go. You still were a jerk. You know, you're the same jerk that you were before, but now I got to see you. I saw you every day. I don't feel that attracted to you right now. Yep. We talked about, this has been a year. We talked about in the beginning, and it blew my mind, the increase in divorces, right when it started. I would think now is when you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Now is when you're going to see it. We're done. I spent a year with your
Which is unfortunate because, you made it through.
No,
but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But I would think that if you made it through this COVID thing, despite the fact that it was very, very difficult, you've gone through the hard part. Now try to sit down and go, okay, what did we learn from each other over the course of the last year?
So optimistic. You know what? So in my scenario,
listen. If I was going to get a divorce, then pull the trigger, because a lot of people were going to get a divorce anyway before COVID. It was just an excuse to say, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not spending the next. And of course, we didn't know it was going to be a year and a half.
But think about it. You got to think about it differently.
When you put that kind of work in, you're thinking to yourself, "Let's salvage this."
But you didn't put that. That's exactly what's happened. COVID didn't. You got through COVID. Hopefully, you both lived. Everybody was okay, right? But your relationship didn't necessarily get through COVID. And in fact, it very much could have become worse going through COVID. Like, you didn't make it through. What you had going in got absolutely destroyed because you didn't communicate. You got into arguments. Your sex life went bad. You started thinking about, I see a lot of clients who got this whole existential thing. What's life really about? What do I really want out of life? And you're looking at your partner and you're like, it's not you. I will bet you divorce rates spike now. Because people are like, I went through it. We were as together as we ever could be. And there's more to life than you.
Yeah, maybe they're going through and going, I realize there is a lot more to life than you. And is this as good as it gets? I was texting you last night about the whole Demi Lovato documentary. Yeah. And she got engaged. She got engaged during quarantine. Yeah. She met somebody. She decided to quarantine. They were going to quarantine together. They quarantined together at her parents' house. Yeah. Right? They're all together. He was relatively new. Everybody got along. It was wonderful. And then at some point during quarantine, she's flashing the ring. Mm-hmm. We're engaged. It's great. She starts coming down the other side. She problems, and you got problems. And she called the engagement off. Yeah. Because that's the thing. In the movies, all the trauma brings people together, right? Oh my God, it's crisis. I love you. And you're having kisses as the world's falling down. It doesn't work that way. It works exactly the opposite. If you were forced into quarantine with someone that you found somewhat attractive, I'll bet you would fall in love during a pandemic.
Well, that's exactly. No, but that's what she was talking about.
Yeah. Pamela Anderson is another one.
Who's she fall in love with?
She got married.
Oh, that's right. To who?
For
how long?
So it's like her Bush guy. The guy who was working her koi pond came over, and the next thing you know, he was like, and they started getting along, and it was all good. And hey, since you're here and you're clean, you want to stay here. Next thing you know, they're getting
her what?
Her koi pond.
No, that wasn't her. What did you call her? What kind of guy is he? Huh? Her bush guy?
Her bush guy. He was a landscaper. Oh. He was trimming her bushes, looking at her koi pond, feeding her goldfish kind of thing. Next thing you know,
many people.
I'll tell you right now, if you were that koi guy, you'd be married to Pamela Anderson. I think she was like latching on to whatever she possibly could, and like, okay, well, you're here, and seriously, if this is what is that building out in Seattle or whatever where they locked in 80 people in the biodome or whatever it was for 3 years.
Oh, that's right.
You put people on space station for 6 months together or 8 months and say this is it. you're going to figure out a relationship.
Do you think they hook up in the International Space Station?
I know they share food. I know they trade meat for vegetables.
Do you think they have sex?
No.
Because they're up there a long time.
No, because if she gets pregnant, it's too much weight. It'll crash.
Oh, seriously. Do you think they have sex?
No, I do not.
What if they hook up? It's like
I know there's opportunities.
That's what I mean.
Stuff off, but I think
there's
only like 6 or 7 people at one time up there.
Do you think it's against the rules? I never thought about that. Do you think there's in the rules no intimate relationships?
I don't think there's any rules. It's probably a wink and a nod. Hey, how's that Russian look?
See, this is the other thing that I think COVID has done, and I'm hearing this a lot. It's making people prioritize people.
Yeah.
And what it's doing is it's making people look at somebody else and go, relative to my life, you're not that important.
Yeah.
You're not that important. And it's here's the other thing. You've talked about this.
Well, you can do that. You can retain or even build your own independence because you've told me about the circle, the man circle, the woman circle, and they intertwine. They have a relationship. There's a man, the woman, and the relationship itself, and all three have to be good in order for it to work. If it's just the man in the relationship, then it doesn't work. I get that. I guess going into the situation, and again, I'm an eternal optimist.
I know.
I would choose to look at a relationship that I think is probably on the brink, going through COVID, going, okay, let's sit down and let's talk about the good things that we saw in each other over the last year, as opposed to try to break down all the little things that we necessarily didn't like. If things are pissing you off before COVID, they're certainly going to piss you off because he or she was around a lot more over the
right. But you would sit down and talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I would now.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Commanders do not allow sexual intercourse in the International Space Station.
What's sexual intercourse, though?
We're a group of...
What about foreplay?
Kissing?
See, I think you could.
I can guarantee there's been some
kissing. Because that's human touch.
Yeah. I can guarantee.
That's that whole... we talked about this last week. The embrace. Do you know how many embraces are going to lead to sex?
I wonder how many relationships will be started once they hit the ground.
From here?
Yeah, you get off. It's been great the last
Well, you can't walk very well.
Yeah, but after a year and a half, hey, look me up.
I'm telling you.
I would doubt it because you're talking about 6 people being thrown or 7 people, whatever it is, thrown into a situation where, first of all, they're wearing suits. Well,
that's why I was asking. I don't mean on the way up.
You think there's a Russian cosmonaut up there giving the old flash once in a while from the window? Woohoo! You want some of my peas? Come on over, big boy. I'll give you a lamb chop if you show me your breast again. Yeah. Ooh, boobs at 17,000 miles an hour. That'd be exciting. But if you knew you were locked up there for good,
see,
do you
see what I just did? That's the psychological pause.
It's the Peru miners, man. It's the Peruvian miners.
There we go.
Was it Peruvian or Puerto Rico? Where was the 32 miners underground?
It was.
And
Chile.
They were talking about you may be down there for a year.
No, it was
well, 32 dudes.
It was Chile.
Chile. I can tell you right now, 32 dudes. Out of 32 dudes, there's probably 3 or 4 of them that were gay. Because that's just pure statistically speaking. But after a while, we know that in Jurassic Park, just because you don't have any females, the males end up growing female genitalia so they can procreate. You would wonder if you're like, okay, you're in this thing, you're in this box with food, whatever you need.
Did you just say we know because of Jurassic Park?
Yes. Don't you remember? Life will find a way. When they see the eggs.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I thought they couldn't mate. Life finds a way. Eventually, you're going to figure out, okay, if Josh and I are stuck in this room for the next 10 years, we may have to start getting a little original. Yeah.
What does the
I'm starting to put my finger on the rim of my coffee cup like I'm getting turned on.
I know. What
the hell's wrong with me?
But your plant is still your plant.
A Chile miner for the next 10 years.
But you see this, but your plant.
And I got news for you. If the only female, you're done. It's over. It's going to be bad.
Did you watch the Demi Lovato thing?
No, I didn't watch the Demi Lovato thing. I talk about her every morning. I'm over her.
You're over her?
Yeah, it's too much. Too much.
What's too much?
If she wrote a book, it'd be too much.
Then you need to watch documentary because it's interesting you say that. I wanted to watch it and given what she had talked about, drugs basically saving her from suicide and all that. And I thought it was powerful. It's something that you don't always hear. So we watched the whole thing last night. And I kept going back.
What was it on, A&E or something like that?
No, it's It's YouTube.
But it's brand new.
Relatively. My kids have both seen it. Yeah. In fact, I was texting my kids last night. So Scooter Braun becomes her manager and befriends her, right? Oh. Because after all the OD stuff, she's looking for new management and whatnot. So I'm texting my kids because Scooter Braun is who has a huge riff with Taylor Swift about the original recordings.
Yeah. Scooter Braun's the one that bought all the Taylor Swift.
That's exactly. So he befriends Demi, and he agrees to take her on as a management, and she's real concerned because she's like, I've OD'd, and is anybody going to want to take me on? And he's like, I will take you on. Take her. So I'm texting my kids last night, and I'm like, all right, let me get this straight. Demi likes Scooter. Scooter likes Demi. Mm-hmm. Taylor doesn't like Scooter. Mm-hmm. So does Taylor like Demi?
Does she?
Well, then I got meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
Well, who cares? I mean,
I did. But here's what I didn't like about it, and I really had a hard time with this because I wanted to like it, and I wanted like it from a mental health. So it was powerful. There were powerful parts. But in a lot of the interview, and there was some stuff she said. I texted you that whole thing last night. I mean, I did not realize the rape and the amount of drugs and the type of drug. I mean, I was blown away. But she was made up in so many of the post interviews that it had this feeling of just like not. It was authentic, but I wanted to see
made up. Makeup wise, you mean?
Makeup on, and they showed other scenes where she was doing a sort of crying. I mean, it was a real confession. And then you flash, and she's made up.
Yep.
And they're interviewing her friends her friends who stood by her, like her choreographer, lost her entire business because they thought her choreographer was responsible for OD. But they've got the cameras rolling. The choreographer's coming on to talk about what really happened, and you see the stylist come in and like, hang on, and they give powder, and and I'm like, that's not right. If this is supposed to be real,
authentic and real, yeah,
and it was. Yeah. I mean, it was, but I kept getting lost in it. I kept getting like, come on, don't make the set look perfect. Don't make And I believe that she was. I believe she was telling the truth, but it had that feeling that bothered me that she looked. You look too good.
Yep.
You look not even too good. You look too made up.
Is there an idea, is there a feeling that, and this is certainly something that has come to the forefront, I think, of the Kevin Love story. It's okay to show your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that feel the same way. But there's also this feeling to me that a lot of, at least celebrities, when they do show their weakness, it gives them an excuse for all the behavior they did in the past, despite the fact that it could have been a disease or not disease. They just did some really bad things and put themselves in bad positions. And so they're kind of like, okay, there you have it. It's all out there. And how old is Demi? 24?
28.
28? I just, sometimes I don't think you need to tell it all. And I realize it's a documentary. I understand that. And if it changes the life of a Demi Lovato fan, that's super good. But she's 28 years old. She's got another 60 years on this earth. And now I feel like it puts her under a microscope to be scrutinized for anything she does wrong from this point forward. She's human. She's going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And so that's the part of me where I'm kind of like, that's why a 68-year-old, I have no problem just letting it all go. Put it all out there, be done with it. It's your life because you're near the end. When you're 28 years old and you're divulging all this information, she's going to get hammered the next time she screws up. And that's going to happen.
She addressed this, and I thought this was good. She basically said, we talked this about, it's almost like the Hunter Biden thing. She said, there's been lots of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. Lots of misunderstanding. A lot of my friends' careers have been just pummeled by this because her fans went after her friends. Mm-hmm. And so what she said was, I wanted to tell this, and of course COVID happened in the middle of it, but she basically said, I want to tell what happened, how it happened, where I am up to this point.
Yep.
And I thought this was good. And she said, I'm 28. Here's who I am up to this point. It's not all of me. I've given you some stuff. She said, there's more stuff. Maybe I'll do another one. I don't know. maybe I'll do another one later. She said, but I felt like it was important to timestamp this. And obviously with the OD, I mean, we talked about this. We were texting last night. It wasn't just that she overdosed. She had multiple strokes, heart attack. They had her neurologist on. This was great. They had her neurologist on. I know a lot of people see this. They had her neurologist sitting next to her. And he's describing sort of what happened to her. And the producer's like, did you know who this was when you were treating her? He's like, no. I mean, I didn't. And he said he purposely didn't Google her in the middle of treatment because he didn't want to be biased. But I think what she did was important because it time-stamped it. The other piece that I thought was really good for all the makeup stuff that she was doing.
Yep.
She in one of the scenes, she confesses sort of about the breakup of the relationship. And she's all made up and she's sort of talking about it. And we see this in psychotherapy all the time. She's like, I'm really pissed. I'm effing pissed. This is not the way I wanted it to be, but whatever. I'll move on. Next scene, you see her in the middle of the night, not in a perfect shot. It's just on her phone. And she is crying her eyes out.
Yep.
And she said, what I said earlier wasn't really true. This is how I feel. My heart is broken, all this kind of thing. And the reason I thought it was important is this is what we see in you see this in therapy all the time. People come in and they're like, well, let me tell you my problem. I'm really upset. I have a lot of resentment for my wife. My relationship's just not where it needs to be. I'm frustrated over it. I don't know who I am. And as a therapist, you kind of sit there and you go, okay, it's fine. And what is that's the defense mechanism.
Yeah.
That's the first layer. Then you get quiet.
Yeah.
And then it comes out. And she did it. And that is what I think was the most important, is that you got to see, and you don't get to see this, and I haven't seen this in any documentary. You got to see her talking into the camera, talking about everything from broken heart to pictures of her wanting to do 2 weeks after she got out of rehab, she relapsed with heroin.
Yeah.
And it's those kinds of things that I think are important that people see, because you only hear about it. You don't get to actually see it.
Something else that happened over the weekend I thought was really interesting, and it's something that we finally found out the truth about Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. Did you hear about this?
No, see, how do you know this stuff?
And for the most part, this is the O.J. Simpson thing. Did he really do it? We know what happened. We can be told over and over and over again, and the story can go on forever. Did A-Rod really do steroids? Of course he did, but we don't have that proof. We don't have that.
That's right.
And so the whole wardrobe malfunction, someone who was actually working on the set for that Super Bowl, who was actually a choreographer on that set, came out over this past weekend and said it was all a done deal. Justin evidently, and he has denied it the entire time. He's apologized to Janet Jackson about it. He's like, it was a horrible situation. It was something that went wrong, and there was no ill intent behind it, blah, 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 blah. We're now finding out that he, watching the VMAs with Britney Spears and Madonna where they kissed, he's like, we're going to take this thing to an all new level. We get the biggest stage in the world. This is bigger than any VMAs we'll ever have. It's the Super Bowl. We can really put our stamp on something outrageous in this particular situation. It was supposed to be something where he grabbed the back of her pants and she had like a G-string on or something.
Yeah,
it was like,
fine,
which is like, now in the Super Bowl, it's like, okay, everyone's wearing G-strings. Back then, it probably would have been a pretty big deal. And it was his idea to actually do that. She was in on it.
Yeah, okay.
And that they knew exactly what was going to happen. And so that's the truth. And so for people who have been talking about this.
Wait. So what happened?
He knew that he was going to grab her top. She knew that her nipple was going to come out.
Where's the G-string?
That wasn't enough. That wasn't good enough. The G-string, we were going to do the G-string thing, but we really, yeah. We were gonna do something outrageous. We were gonna do something different, unbeknownst to anybody else. But he wanted to take it to another level. Is
he denying it now?
He has not said anything about it. But several people have.
What has Janet Jackson said?
Several people have collaborated his story and said, yes, it's true. He knew exactly what was going on. It was not a even the choreographer said there was no malfunction at all. It worked just like he wanted it to.
Why now?
I don't know.
COVID?
Could be.
It's COVID.
But at least we know. Because
COVID concessions.
I remember being on sports radio. We talked about this for like 6 or 7 months. Did he know it was going to happen? Because Justin Timberlake fans who want to believe him will go, well, he said it. He didn't know, and da-da-da. And I'm trying to think. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Maybe he was supposed to pull something off and not show the whole. My whole thing was he was going to pull something off, and you weren't going to see the entire breast.
Right. So he just pulled too much.
But yeah, and somehow in the middle. But after I heard that story, I went back and watched it again.
Of course you did.
It's spot on. It's spot on. Because there's no way he could have had a wardrobe malfunction the way it went off. It had to be pulled off perfectly. It had to be something that was probably practiced.
Why is this not headline news right now?
It is. If you go to the right sites, yeah. You go to the sites I go to. All right, KCAST Radio, it's Kurre and Klapow. You can check us every Monday through Friday on the KCAST Radio app. We're on from 6 until 9 right here on KCAST Radio. Going to play some classic rock. And then coming up here in a few minutes, Mary Duncan from Milo's is going to join us. We have a big shindig out there from 11 to 1. The Inverness Corners are going to be doing a live remote coming up this Friday. The restaurant's going to be back open again, which is going to be great. I always talk about the drive-thru is fantastic, but the in-store experience is the best because you got all the seasoned salt you want. You got the whole vat of sauce you can use. You can refill any of your drinks. It's going to be great. And the chicken nugget is brand new at Milo's, and it's fantastic. It's unlike any chicken nugget. They're not stamped. They're not the same nugget like you get in other places. This is real white chicken nuggets. They're delicious. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Can you just say one thing before we stop?
Sure.
One more thing. What do you call Pamela Anderson's guy who takes care of her landscape? I just want to hear this again.
Her bush guy.
Okay.
Her koi pond man.
Okay.
She doesn't have a pool guy. She has a koi pond man.
Bush guy.